Hey everybody, thanks for joining us out here again today on this beautiful day for another episode of the VSO Gun Channel. What we're looking at today is the ATN THOR optic. ATN is a tech company that specializes in smart HD optics. If you guys have been paying attention for any length of time, you will have seen our review on the X sight, which is their night vision offering. They are now on Gen 2 of that particular optic. We're awaiting one of those for testing as we speak. But this is their THOR. This is a thermal unit, and it is also going to be the most cost-effective thermal unit that you can get on the market today. That said, we're going to dive right into this thing, see what she's all about. There's a lot of functionality here, some of which we're going to be able to cover. Others, parts that are a little bit harder to capture, we may not be able to get to, but there's a lot of cool things that we're going to look at right here, right now on the VSO Gun Channel. Alright, as far as buttons, dingies, and switches and stuff, controls, we have 6 buttons on top. Each of these have functionality inside of the user interface within the optic that is gained access to by pressing and holding the enter key. But they also have their individual uses as well. The right key starts and stops video recording. The left key will take a picture or a photo burst depending on if you have that functionality enabled or not. Up and down are zoom in and zoom out respectively, and the power button obviously turns the thing on and off, but it can also be enabled to initiate a fast NUC calibration, which is the calibration you have to perform each time you want to power this thing on. And if your environmental conditions shift significantly, you'll have to redo a calibration, obviously, because it's a thermal optic, right? It's very simple to do that. Supplied cap, either put that in the front and press initiate in NUC either through the internal menu or the power button, or if you're missing the cap, which I would actually like to see this be lanyard, it's not, you can simply place the prong on your hand over the front of it and initiate an NUC that way. On the right side here we have a panel here that has ATN on it. That is your access for your power. It's powered by 4 AA's. I suggest using the lithium cells or the rechargeable lithiums. They seem to do pretty good, and they are projected to obviously give you much longer battery life. Here is your media panel. We have access to micro USB, micro SD, and HDMI here. If you guys, choose your poison for moving your data out of this thing. You can put any size micro SD card that's offered inside there, and it'll auto push your data to that thing so it's easily transferred to your computer. Under the Reticle Style heading, we find the submenus for the THOR's reticle in both their shape and color. The reticle is offered in a variety of different reticles. We have a solid duplex, a duplex with a dot in the center, dot with 3 lines, a pepper with lateral hash marks, a graduated ballistics ladder, a small pepper, and a duplex with hash marks. For this, we're going to use the dot with 3 lines. Backing out one screen will take you to the color settings, and you can change the reticle from red, orange, yellow, green, blue, gray, and black. We're going to go ahead and use black. The thermal tab is where you're going to spend the majority of your time when you're using the THOR. This is where you dictate how the optic is sampling the environment and feeding data back to you. This is where we adjust contrast, thermal sensitivity, how the optic is sampling the environment through its metering mode. You can also toggle off the fast NUC mode, which allows you to use the power button to recalibrate real quick. And this is also where we find our color palettes. So, from the top, we have white hot, rain, rainbow, iron bow, glow bow, fusion, green hot, red hot, and black hot. So while we're in the black hot setting, it looked kind of the worst out of all those right now because this thing is set up for white hot. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is play with the settings a little bit while we're in here and show you how important it is to playing with those settings dependent on the mode that you're in. This thing has Wi-Fi and GPS, as denoted on the top panel right there. However, this thing can search for Wi-Fi all at once. It's not going to find any here because we're at the range right now, and the reason we're at the range is we're going to go ahead and hop into our demos on this product. This thing is currently hard mounted up to an MI-15F in 5.56. This gun is very, very similar to the gun in our 100,000 subscriber giveaway, but we're going to go ahead and run over there and grab up some ammo and get to some shooting. Alright guys, we're going to go ahead and power up the optic real quick. Shooting ZQI 62 grain SS109s. It's a weird day out here today, guys. It's cool. Air is nice and cool. However, the sun heats everything up. So just to make sure that we've got even the targets in the shade heated up, we've gone ahead and taken some hot packs and put them on the heads of the targets just to be sure. We'll see if we can't blow them off here in a minute. But some of them are painted black, so they're going to be hot anyway. What we're going to do for each of these is we're going to use a different color palette just so you guys can cycle through all of them, see what a hot target looks like in all of them for this thing. So, without further ado, we're going to heat up this Midwest gun right now. Start closest target and turn on the recording. Okay. Intermediate target. That's a good one. That one's painted black. There with the hot pack. And far target. Now this one, you can only see the hot spot on its head. I think I missed it. There we go. There with the hot pack. There we go. That is what it looks like inside the ATN. We're going to stop recording. There you go. That's what it looks like inside the ATN under standard conditions in iron bow. Alright guys and gals, we're working in white hot now, and what we're going to be doing is looking at one of the power saving functions of the ATN THOR. This thing's a computer, and obviously when we're recording we're going to be using more computing power, which would, deductive reasoning, tell you that you're going to decrease your battery life, right? Also, in the heat of the moment, if you've got buck fever or something like that, or you're coyote hunting and you're very, very fast on the trigger, you may not remember to turn on the recording function of the camera, right? This thing has a recoil operated camera mode. So I've gone ahead and turned that thing on. I've set it for 10 seconds. We're going to go ahead and try it out right now. Same series of targets in white hot. Go! Out of ammo. Who's in charge to load the mags anyway? You're fired. Alright, let's see if she recorded. Another really cool thing about the THOR is it has an integral rangefinder. All we have to do is go into the range finding function, take a reading above the target, take a reading below the target, and we have a range. So, people ask me all the time, they're like, Kurt, what do I need a thermal for? I'll just, night vision is coming down in price. It's not very expensive these days, especially for the cheap stuff. I'm just going to buy that, I'm just going to buy some cheap night vision and it'll be fine for what I need it for. And look, night vision, it's okay. You can do some good work with night vision, especially if you spend premium on it and get the really good stuff. But it's still not going to be as good as a thermal. You're going to have a green haze in your optic, and you're going to have things moving around inside of it, and that's how you're really going to be able to tell if it's a target or not. The contrast is not very good on night vision. The contrast is excellent with thermal. So the other thing is night vision really sucks in weather. So we're talking like rain and especially fog, that thing that happens in the dark in the evenings when it cools off, and in the mornings when you're trying to hunt things in the dark with your night vision, that's when thermal really shows its power, is when you've got things like that moving in on you and you have problems with your night vision. Thermal will cut through all that. So to demonstrate this, we're going to do some dark stuff later, But right now I have some of those heat packs down over the hill in a shaded spot, and I can barely see them. I obviously put them there so I know where they're at, right? But I'm going to swivel the camera around so you guys can look at what I'm looking at, and you're going to see that you're not going to be able to see them very well. We're going to pick them out on the thermal and blast them. All right, let's kill some hot packs. We've expended all our ammo for this this sequence. Let's go down and see if I hit any of them. Not sure that I did, but I could definitely see them. So as you guys can see, I was throwing a bunch of different holds there to try and hit these. I wasn't quite sure what the hold should be for that particular distance on that optic, but we've got a couple here. Let's see if we can get these to focus in here. Maybe, please. There it is. So, a couple hits on that one, a couple hits on that one, and 3 on that guy right there. So, yeah, you can definitely pick out targets with the thermal that you can't see with very easily with a traditional optic, and definitely would not be able to see these on night vision. Now, all I said, we should take a second to talk about the limitations of thermal. It is a two-dimensional image. That two-dimensional image is made up of thermal data that your optic has collected from your environment. So we can see this pepper popper very easily between these two barrels in the red hot mode, but when I put a piece of automotive glass in front of it, you can't see anything. And that's because the optic is now picking up the thermal data of an object in front of the target. So if you've got something hiding behind something, you're not going to be able to pick it up in thermal. Not that you would be able to pick it up with a regular optic anyway, but in specific instances like glass, you can't pick up something through glass on a thermal, whereas you could have picked it up on a traditional optic. Alright kiddies, we're in total dark. I'm going to go ahead and switch over to the thermal version here. What we've got here is a line of pepper poppers, and I've gone ahead and tagged the last one and the first one with the blowtorch. So what we're going to go ahead and do is whack these things, and I'm going to do it offhand. First one's about 25 yards out, last one is almost 100. Freestanding. Some of the other functions that I just absolutely love about this optic, and quite frankly all of ATN's optics do this, they're two-shot zero system. Just absolutely love this thing. It makes zeroing your gun super fast. It's very simple. All you do, shoot one round, and then because this thing is recording all the time, you can basically mark where your round hit on your target and then move the crosshair to where you want the correction to be and shoot a second time, and you should be zeroed. I did that on this thing, literally 2 rounds to zero this optic at 25 yards. Super fast. I don't know how much time you guys spend zeroing your optics, but I guarantee you, unless they're right on out of the factory, you're going to shoot more than 2 rounds, definitely. Now, something that I asked ATN to do after I did the review of the initial X-Sight, the X-Sight Gen 1, if you haven't seen that video, link in the description, was make it possible to record profiles for your optics. So what that means is that I can take this, save a profile for this MI-15F here, throw it on another gun of completely different caliber, zero it for that gun, and save a profile for it. I can then take it off that gun and throw it right back on the MI-15F, select the profile that I saved for that gun, and she's ready to go. Thank you, ATN, for doing that. They are paying attention to user feedback on that sort of stuff, and that's something that we like to see. Now that said, we're going to go ahead and close this video out right. I've got a paint can down there that has been absolutely driving me nuts because it goes right back in the stack after it's used, but it never, the sprayer's broken on it. So every single time we pull it out thinking we're going to paint something silver, it doesn't work. I've got a blowtorch down there that's blowing on it. We're going to go ahead and waste that thing, close this video out right. Thanks for watching the VSO Gun Channel. We'll catch you guys on the next video. Obviously, completely impractical use for the ATN, but I thought it would be a cool way to close the video. I had to go get a new bucket now. I think she's definitely done. I don't know if there's any saving her. I'd throw it over the hill, but I'm afraid I'd catch the Roundup grass on fire. So there's obviously nothing that we can do but watch, right? Will it become a puddle? I'm not entirely sure. So yeah, this thing used to be blue. Totally silver now. Paint job, VSO style.